Hey, Greg, how are you?
Hi, Father Vazken. Let's talk about the Cathia Hamparian Children's Memorial, or I should say, the virtual Children's Memorial.
Well, that's a nice way of saying it because this has been going on for the last 27 years, but it's the first year that we've offered it virtually, and it's traditionally done on the second Sunday of December. So our opening was just last week, December 10th, and what a beautiful space! Very somber, sobering. It's reflective. It gives people an opportunity to be transported. It's a very, very special, sacred spot right now on the metaverse.
It's interesting to imagine that the metaverse or a virtual reality environment can become sacred. It was a good test of a concept, and it really, I think it's succeeding. We had a number of parents on the opening night who had lost their loved ones, and there was a lot of tissues, and you could hear it and you could feel it, but it was very cathartic in a almost the way that one needs the heart to release and feel comforted in a certain way.
That night was very special for a lot of people, including myself, because first of all, when you see the number of kids that are up here, and you realize these are just people that we've known over the last 27 years. It's all started off with Cathia, just one person, and tragically this number got bigger and bigger every year with new kids that were added to it. And you realize that it's just such a small percentage of all the kids that we lose, and especially this year with the war going on, it happened in Artsakh. I think that's what's beautiful about this. You have this church as the centerpiece, and it's symbolic of Artsakh. It's a church that was basically the baby or the child of the Armenian people, and it was killed right in front of us, in front of the entire world. It was not only taken away, but the domes were smashed and turned into, something else because of the hatred that these people had. And so it's the centerpiece of this memorial, and around it are precious children, just as precious as, a building or a faith that people have taken for granted but are taken away from us.
Yeah. Should we take a walk around and...
Sure. Why don't you lead and I'll follow along? Okay.
On the right, there are photographs that we got to take together in 2014 when this church in Artsakh was still part of Armenia. And so it's perhaps the last time this church will be able to be seen as a church. Who knows what the interior has been changed to, but so these photographs preserve the heritage that may be being destroyed as we speak. And then on the left, of course, are all the youngsters who've passed away. The whole space is surrounded by candles. What was that?
I'm looking at some of the images. of the church, and they're beautiful memories. You've got one where there's a deacon in the middle of these two big icons. I'm looking at that right now, and the way you've juxtaposed this church and the pictures around all of our children. I mean, you're talking about the most precious things on earth, And here we are. We're right in the middle of it, and they've left us physically, but thanks to this environment, we're able to connect with them. as bad as it is, you have to be able to make a way of connecting, and this certainly is a nice way.
What's interesting too is with the virtual memorial, where we can connect with anyone that's anywhere in the world, whether they have a $40 mobile phone, an iPad, computer, or even a VR headset. So it really does, in a way, bring community together. Just as we are here now, I think the technology currently in this space allows 500 people to be together and interacting with each other, which is pretty amazing.
It really is. It really is.
And the church was created using photogrammetry. It was using a drone that was helped to photograph it in 360 degrees to produce an accurate 3D model that we're now able to walk around the grounds.
I think the more time I spend in this space, the more things come to mind, the different aspects of how completely revolutionary this technology is making the ability for us to connect with different people. Like, for instance, I'm looking on this one side, and you've got this little baby who is, I happen to know many of these people just because I was intimately involved in their lives as their priest. And, you know, you've seen a little baby that survived just a couple days, and was, you know, you see them there right next to this church that was allowed to survive just for a couple days, and then boom. On the grand scheme, when you look at within the course of 100 years, okay, the church was built, it served its purpose, and then it was just taken away, boom, and all of a sudden it's gone. You can't even visit it, you can't see it, you can't be there, and that's what these children are. You know, it's just I could just sit here and think about how tragic these things are, and in reflecting at the church, you start realizing that, you know, it's on a bigger scale, and unless we do something soon, this is the fate of humanity. We're going to be just looking at things and saying, well, too bad this has happened, instead of saying, you know, we got to do something about it now. I mean, there's no reason in the world right now. You cannot control these little kids from dying. You know, things are going to happen. There's going to be diseases. There's going to be accidents. But when you have a situation where people are just violent towards one another for no other reason, because of their ethnic makeup, because of what they believe, where they believe heaven or hell is, and things like this, it's like, we got to get out of this mess. We got to start understanding that every one of us is part of this universe. And I think that's what comes out in this space too. You know, when I said the word universe, I just happened to look up, and wow, you know, here we are. We're on. It's almost like a little planet that we're on.
Right.
Little asteroid. Yeah, inside of this big giant universe. And the only thing that sustains us is having each other, having these memories and each other. Otherwise, we fall off.
That's profound, especially since there is an edge, and we can fall off.
There is an edge.
Universe. We forget that that uni is in the word of the cosmos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. The to remember and realize, to come back to our humanity. Somehow this technology is hopeful to do this. If it can bring community together anywhere in the world and share in wisdom and a kind of dialogue, promoting coexistence, compassion, collaboration towards these issues.
Yeah.
All the co-words.
And it has to begin someplace, and I think this is a beautiful place. You know, in a sense, it's a neutral ground. Think about it. It really is a completely neutral ground. It's existing in this virtual universe that you could see because of the stars and the galaxies up above. It's on a temporal plane. There is something, to me, it reminds me of just a small chunk of matter. It could be like a meteor or something like that where it is. But it doesn't really matter what we call that area. It is just a space where our minds, our reflections are coming together. Think about the past. And in so doing, we're thinking about where are we headed as humanity.
Yeah.
There is
It's amazing.
it's just a very sacred space. And really remarkable that you put it up together, and we did it to commemorate these children, but in so doing, I think we're making a big statement about humanity and where we're headed. So, congratulations, really came out well. Looks really beautiful.
This is
a statement.
Teamwork. It's beautiful what happens when our whatever our tool sets are, capabilities, thought processes. It's an example of collaboration and the possibility of the imagination. Because I remember we were talking about doing things like this a year and a half ago, but they were just conceptual.
Yeah.
And here it is. I think this is, of the 5 or 6 projects, spatial projects, immersive virtual spaces we're building, this is the first one that's ready, and it feels really good. It really, even though it's perhaps the most profound on a certain level, it's a space that induced many tears on the opening night. Usually exhibitions are a lot more celebratory. This one was very cathartic, and everyone that had lost a child that was visiting this space on the opening night, they actually came up to me and mentioned that they thanked Apostle and for having this space built, because it really provided them with a network where they could come and experience something, whether they're by themselves or meeting other people who could relate to them on this level. And it touched them in a very interesting way. And these were people who had never, they're older generations. At best, they've touched Facebook, but, they've never played video games, perhaps, and things like that. So just walking around was new for them. But
yeah.
It's definitely a very heartfelt experience, and it functioned. It really worked, which is
it works well.
That's the exciting thing here. It shows us the possibility that the technology can be used for humanity. It really can. It's just the limitation is the imagination. That's it now. Everything, we got everything else. We just what do we need? We need imagination, and we have what's the missing ingredient? What else do we need in this soup? Love?
Well, I think we have that. That's the love that we have for the projects that we do. Yeah. And I think these little statements that you have over here, each time the wind blows, I can hear your voice whisper into my ears, and I reply with my heart, all my love from the depth of my soul. These are just messages that people visiting have put up through the years, and you were able to transpose them here. It's fantastic. It's a labor of love. It's obvious. You can't do this without love.
There it is. The secret sauce.
That's the
That's it.
secret sauce, yeah.
If you want to make this world beautiful, or whatever you do in this world, add the secret sauce if you want to be good.
Add the secret sauce. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it works every time.
Well, thank you, Father Vazken. This has been a great
All right, thank you,
meetup.
Gregory. It was a pleasure being here with you.
Okay, see you in the real world.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.